Okay, I think we are live. So good morning everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. It's been a while since we've done a Painting This Like Q&A. But we do have a commercial shoot tomorrow, so that's why we're painting. If you have any questions, please leave them in the box. One day I'll figure out what side of the screen it's on. And yeah, I don't normally people have like a question that we're going to start off with, but we don't have that today. So I might just throw it to Peter and he can start ranting while we wait for people to join us, because no one's here yet.
No one's here yet?
No, it says no one's watching.
They don't like you. That's all right. You sure you're live?
Yeah.
You're looking on your other computer?
Oh no, yeah, I got it. Now people are saying hi. They're here.
So you
See,
found,
they do like me.
You've found one person who's going to watch
No, I
you.
didn't. Got 3 people. Anyway, I'll throw it over to Peter now.
You got 3 people. That's all right. That's my entire friends list. Yeah, welcome everybody in these weird times. Yeah, we have to paint the studio. We actually have a commercial shoot, which we're allowed to do, the shoot we're doing tomorrow. And it's really our first shoot in a month, isn't it? I think it's pretty much our first shoot in a month. We've been working, I've been working every day, and I've been working very hard on all the catching up on stuff and resetting my business for the future, because I think the world will be a little bit different. So I'm just trying to set up so I can survive, but it's been driving me absolute crazy not shooting. I didn't realize how much effect it would have on me just missing out on that buzz of having a shoot every 2 days. So I'd hate to know what it feels like for those people who are cooped up and don't know when their prospect the next time they pick up a camera or do something creative. But I've just found that I've been able to look at stuff that maybe I didn't do properly before, or look at projects because I didn't have time, I didn't finish, and using that as my creative to go back to some of those and revisit those things, which I have found enjoyable. I did a video the other day which was from a shoot, I think way over a year ago, and it was one of those things that I really wanted it to do, but by the time I went through and edited the blog pictures for it, edited the video, write the music, put it all together, I knew I was going to be up for 2 to 3 days work, and I just didn't have that free time to dedicate 2 to 3 days up until now. But anyway.
It's probably going to lose Peter walking over there. The gimbal active track.
The whole idea.
We're still keeping positive and keeping busy. We've been able to catch up on heaps of stuff, which has been good.
Yeah, I think you've seen every episode of Judge Judy now.
And border security.
Border security, yeah. Like that'll run out soon. You know, borders.
Keith would like to know how he can make a living photographing women in a similar style.
It's very hard. You can't just start off doing what I'm doing now. I didn't start off by doing what I'm doing now. You need to start off and build up a business as a photographer. Then you diversify your business slowly over a period of years to a niche market. So number one, you've got just being a photographer, you're going to pick up all different types of paid work. And then by the time you slowly keep working on what you really want to do, by the time you've got enough people knowing this is what you do and like what you do, you can then start removing weddings, parties, anything. I don't know of anybody who could just go straight off the bat and shoot what I shoot and make a living. I know this is not an answer a lot of people want to hear, but it's like anything. If you wanted to be a racing car driver, you can't just step straight away into F1. So it's the same with any business. You have to work out how to get into an industry that you can make money in, and then you have your plan of then slowly developing your client base or your style to what you want to do, and just slowly get your workflow drifting over to that direction. And then you've already got a following, you've got a name, you don't have this issue with clients. They've seen you work around long enough, they trust you and let you shoot how you want to shoot, which means you'll give them a good product. I know it's a long-winded answer, but there's no shortcut to getting into anything properly for long term. So just get out there, build up a folio of what you love doing. If you don't want to shoot weddings, parties, anything, don't try and be a full-time photographer. Use it as a hobby that might earn you some money down the track. And even if it means you need to work 3 days a week doing a job that you don't like, so you can do 2 days a week photographing what you do like, there's no problem doing that either. Because I don't like doing weddings, parties, children. Actually, there's plenty of things I don't like doing which I have to do to be able to pay bills and rent. But the more you grow, the more you can diversify, make your business that you make your money doing what you really want to do. Sorry, long answer.
No, that's all right. Keith said thank you for your honesty. Flick it over to me. Everyone is saying hello, so hello everyone joining us. Thank you for joining us for painting. I know people always say it's really therapeutic to watch Peter paint, which is really fun.
I can't hear you.
Oh, because I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to people right. Saying that people always say that it's fun, like it's really therapeutic to watch you paint the site.
It is very therapeutic to watch somebody else work. Beck does it all day, every day.
Phil wants to know when I'm guesting on his show. We'll talk about that over email. I'll shoot you an email this afternoon.
Sorry?
Someone was asking me something that I'll email them about. Logan agrees with you, not shooting sucks, and he feels for you.
No, look, I'm fine. I do really miss the shooting side of things. Beck and I did a little shoot, what was it, Monday?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's right, today's Thursday. And it was like going on to a holiday. It was like having a holiday. It was such a fun day for me to be back in the studio. I didn't do anything fancy, just natural light. But it was just fun to get back behind the camera and create. And we had no exact reason for what we were doing except create a couple of nice pictures. I have a few series of works which I've been working on for years and years. And there was a couple of things in one of the series that I hadn't shot Beck for, so we decided we'd shoot one of those. And yeah, just had fun. It was actually,
I really
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No questions?
Kris said, thank you again for coming on to his podcast, and that he would love to get your amazing studio manager on next.
My studio manager?
Yeah.
I don't have one of those. I have a wine tester. We can get the wine tester on. Anyway, yeah, it was a fun time, Kris. Hopefully I didn't keep you up too long with me rambling. But I think that podcast is up now. Beck can throw a link in later at the end of the video. We'll throw a link to that podcast I did with Kris.
I will put that down in the description. Someone has a question. Can they use a Sony a6400 if they are just starting out as a new business, and will they be able to produce professional images with this camera and lens?
Yeah, easy. It's a beautiful camera.
Yeah.
It's not the camera, it's a photographer, it's the person behind it. We have a 6500, which we use commercially a lot as a video camera, and I have used it on stills without a problem. I do use nice glass on them. I think that's more important than your camera is the glass that you have in the front. So as long as you have some reasonably good glass on the front. But if you are shooting stuff that you're trying to get grungy and or make it filmic or moody, it really then doesn't matter about your glass. I know many are filmmakers who will shoot with some really crap glass on their video to get a certain look out of their videos. So there's no good or bad. I love sticking a 100-year-old lens on in front of my Sony to get this low contrast, very soft focus look. And I could most likely buy that lens, or most likely pick up that lens for 20 bucks at any flea market. So yeah, with gear is more for the photographer. If you know what you're doing, the 6400 is easily commercial quality. We've been meaning to do many years ago, we did a Facebook Live. It was about 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. It was about 3 years ago. We did a Facebook Live doing a commercial style shoot just using the Sony RX100. And we tethered it. We did everything like I would if I was shooting with Hasselblad. And we showed that I could easily have done a commercial quality shoot with that. So yeah, no problems at all with the 6400. Gee, you're a bit slow, Beck.
Sorry, I was trying to get nice camera angles. I think I'm a photographer or something now. I'm joking, I don't. Who were your mentors to learn your lighting?
I had 2 stages of learning lighting. One was what I call camera club style of lighting, was where I fell into in the early days, thinking that I had to have this perfect lighting sort of set up. And there was a Canadian-French guy, and I can't even think of his name, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think he's doing it anymore. And I went to a seminar, it was a business seminar, and he was talking about how to make money out of portraiture. And I went there and watched him do his stuff. And I really wanted to learn more about his way of lighting, which is very old-fashioned, American, French-style portrait type work. So lots of lights, everything in a perfect position. And he was shooting up to 13 lights, and everything was light metered. Everything was like you would have 5.6 for the face. It would run maybe a hair light running at f8 if they had dark hair. Just different meterings around which would build a lighting. And I fell in love with this, and it seemed really cool at the time because all I had to do was do all this number work, drop the subject in, and instantly my lighting was perfect. And it had this completely painter's feel of a picture. The problem was my subject couldn't move, so all my subjects looked boring. And as much as the lighting looked good, the picture looked crap. So I started to get fed up with this really quick. I started to, even though other people loved what I was doing, I didn't like what I was doing. I felt it was soulless, it had no soul at all. And I had photographers that I'd already been following, so I loved their work. So for about a month, I kept looking at their work and looking at my work and just seeing these are like chalk and cheese. There's no comparison. They've got depth, mood, feel. And I've got really nice lighting, but no depth or mood. or feel. So there's people like Irving Penn, Helmut Newton, Patrick de Michelia, Peter Lindbergh. These were the sort of photographers. I was looking at Avedon a little bit and looking at how they managed to capture these incredible photos. And I actually realized I wasn't looking at the light when I looked at their pictures, but I was looking at the light when I looked at my pictures. And I thought, well, there's a difference. They're trying to create this amazing story or scene, and the light is a secondary thing. It's not the major thing. The major thing was the subject. So I spent a full weekend going back to teach myself lighting again. And I threw away the light meter. I sat in the studio for a whole weekend with 2 models and started with just one single light. And I thought, if I start with a big, easy, boring light and then built it up from there. And I predominantly still only use one light today. I am very, very fussy with my lighting, but I need my subject to be able to move. So a lot of my lighting is designed so the subject can move. And that way I can get my photos lit the way I want them, but I'm not lighting them with snoots and heavily gridded lights. I want the model to be able to move around the shot so I can make the model feel something, so that then comes out their eyes and creates a picture. And Beck is not a model, a steering wheel cover, an assistant, whatever we're going to call her. With her working back with me, which is just over 2 years now, the difference I've seen in Beck's modeling is like, there's no comparison. Now, 15, 20 minutes warm-up time, and then you just see her with her moods, and I have so many different faces I can work with, and a lot of that is she has the freedom to move. So if she turns this way a little bit, she feels this feeling, and if she turns this way, she feels this feeling. Well, you can't do that when you've got 13 lights on somebody, and if they move the smallest bit, that little angel light that went into her eye is now a nose dot. Sorry, long answer. I don't know how to do short answers.
I know, you don't think.
But anyway, my mentors still to look at their work. Unfortunately, there's not many new photographers that really grab me, and I get really annoyed at this. And I think it's because in the world of digital, too many people shooting and lighting what I saw like competition style or camera club style, or having all these rules, so they've lost this beautiful emotion in their work. But the Peter Lindberghs and the Helmut Newtons and Penns and Avedons, those people, even the Marios, both of them, Greg Cadell, he does some nice work. Not as big a fan, because he does a lot of colour. People like Nick Knight, I love how crazy he goes with his work. Not my style in the way of you won't see much of what he does in my look, but I really enjoy looking at his folio of work. Hope that answered the question for you.
I think that answered it. This is kind of similar to what you answered before, kind of. Harley used to shoot a lot of models with classic cars and motorcycles. Life got in the way, but they would love to get back into it again. Is there a secret to get their name back out there?
Yeah, just create good work and stick it up on social media. And don't listen to anybody. Do what you want to do. Yeah. Don't ever listen to anybody else that critiques your work. The person who's critiquing your work will never be your client. So you don't need to listen to them. Your clients are going to be somebody who has the same sense of humor and the same eyes that you have. And if you really like your work, there's going to be other people out there that are going to really like your work. And as I've said before, I've got clients. We've got one client that flew out from Germany to Australia twice to do photo shoots. So just the cost of that to shoot with me is, that's To me, that's mega. It means that the million of photographers over in Europe and Germany, but she decided, no, I like what Peter does, I like his look. I'm just going to fly out each time I need a shoot done and do a one-day shoot with me. And this is a designer that I work with. Next,
sorry, I'm flicking at cameras over. What followers do you follow and respect? You kind of touched on that before when you said there's not many new photographers, but you like the greats and stuff.
On the internet, I don't follow many people at all. On my Instagram page, pretty much my follow list is the people I work with. So models, stylists, makeup artists that I like to keep in contact with, and I like to see what they're up to. There's one or two photographers that are on there, but they're mainly people, they're big name people. I just want to see what they're doing, what transitions they've made in their photography, because some of their lives have changed a lot. Not the corona thing, but more just in what they used to shoot. They're not shooting that anymore, and I'm interested to see what's happening with them. But overall, if I go onto social media, I'm more so on Facebook than Instagram. So I really don't even search Instagram. I seriously don't use Instagram as an inspirational tool or a search tool. I have about 30 or 40 groups on Facebook I follow, and the groups I follow, there's one that's into large format film. There's about 30 fashion groups, and all the other groups are to do with car racing or sim racing. So that's pretty much where I get the fashions, just so I can keep a finger on the pulse to what colours next year, just so when I have a client come in, I'm fully aware of the direction that the industry is going in, so I can help with the pre and post of a shoot. If I go back, say, 10 years, I needed that inspiration. So I was going to sites like Pinterest, and one of my old favorite sites was Tumblr, but now they've G-rated it. None of the stuff that I used to look at's up there anymore, because it's all high-end fashion, and there's nudity in high-end fashion. And all of a sudden, all those bloggers disappeared because they couldn't post the real fashion shots. Or they had bars across it, which completely wrecks any photo. So pretty much when Tumblr died, I think there was no site there to give me inspiration, but at the same time I wasn't needing inspiration on seeing other people's work. It actually freed up my mind to be more inspired by seeing a movie or listening to some music, or something else would key something to inspire me to want to shoot something or give me an idea to shoot something. Hope that helps, but yeah. If you need inspiration, just try and steer away from any, what I call camera photo club type page, because they're just, a lot of those, like 500 pics and things like that, they're just photographers doing the camera club thing, and they're all worried about what eye's in focus and all of those things, which really are not important in a photo. The importance in a photo is the story that you've told and the emotion you've put across.
Sorry, we have fallen behind on questions. If you are new here, this does tend to happen because Peter likes to be fully transparent and give you guys nice detailed answers to your questions, but I do apologize.
I'll try and hurry him up.
How often do you have to sand your cyc, or did you ever have to? I don't think you ever sand it.
I used to sand it once a year, but since Beck's been working with me, I now have no time, so it hasn't been sanded since Beck started with me. But it'll most likely get a sanding this Christmas.
Oh, a Christmas present for it.
For me, yeah.
So generous. Did you start off as a painter, Peter?
My very first job was a dishwasher in a Chinese restaurant. No, I don't think I've ever had a job as a painter. It's most likely the one thing I've never been paid to do.
Which is weird because I swear you've done like literally every job ever.
What, did you want me to go through every job I've ever had?
Pardon?
Do you want me to go through all my different careers?
No, it's all right. It's okay.
I'm not falling behind
Jake.
the answers. It's the question asker that's falling behind.
Didn't catch that, sorry. But Jake from Tennessee has said, it's always a joy to watch. What is your favourite shoot scenario?
Favourite shoot scenario?
Yeah.
Working with a model I've never worked with before. And creating pictures that both the model and I absolutely love. I love working with people that I haven't worked before and then clicking with them and then creating images for both of us. So that's what he means. Is that what he means, you think?
I sneezed and I didn't hear you.
Did I answer what you think he asked the question about? Yeah, that's right.
And then I sneezed, sorry about that. Ken is in the middle of having a house built and has an area 6 meters in length by 3 meters wide by 2.7 height for a studio. I've looked around the net for inspiration and advice. What are your thoughts or advice?
It's a very, very small area. So it's fine if you just want to do sort of portrait-y type stuff. Full standing, you're going to be really starting to struggle. Just be careful, be careful of just painting all your walls white, because in that small area, you're not going to be able to add contrast easily unless you're only just doing portraits. I'd be tending to maybe paint maybe the ceiling white and the walls an off-white, a grey, definitely not a colour, just so you could add a white wall, a white foam to increase the contrast, or add a dark wall add a white to take away contrast and add a black to increase the contrast. But those small areas are very tough if they're all white.
Cameron says, hi, loves watching you guys, thank you very much. Thinking of getting a Hasselblad X1D Mark II or H650. Given it seems to be the same sensor on both, and you have both, Peter, what is the benefit of spending 3 times as much on the H6?
The H650, I think, is finished. So I believe that's the end of it, so there'll be no upgrades. The H100 megapixel will be still going for a while, but I think long term the H has most likely got to the end of its growth period. I expect Hasselblad to be bringing out a new studio camera, but I don't see that happening for another couple of years. The quality of the picture off the X to the H is identical. Which one am I to?
This one at the moment. I need to change that.
Yeah, the quality is identical. I don't have the Mark II yet, but I'll have it in the next couple of weeks. But the little bit of what I've read it can do is, in the future, I would short-term been jumping on the X, just get used to the little bit of blackout time, which really, once you get used to it, it's not a problem at all. I do enjoy it. We did a tutorial the other day where I put a Zeiss lens on it, and it was amazing to get this look that I could never get out of a H. And just the fact of it being a mirrorless just makes it so much easier to work with out on the field. Tethered, it doesn't make much difference to me, but when I'm out in the field and not tethering, that ability to see more things in the viewfinder before you take the picture helps. Also things like focus peaking, so you can actually go back to that beautiful art of manual focusing with a bit more confidence than on the non-mirrorless cameras. But yeah, I think for longevity right at the moment, you're most likely much better to go with the X. And it's going to be a lot cheaper for you. And you can still get an adapter and put the H lenses on. But a lot of these new X lenses are absolutely beautiful. So yeah, that's the way I'd go.
Solid advice. What's the best way to develop an individual style that is marketable?
The way I developed mine was by collecting photos, and you can just use a Pinterest folder, whatever you like. Find photos that you absolutely love and wish you had taken, preferably in the same genre or the same style. What I mean by that is, if you want to be a portrait photographer, it's not really good to collect car photos unless there's a feel in that car photo that you'd love to put into a portrait. And start looking at that work a lot, adding to it and then subtracting it. So try and go right through your collection folder and remove pictures that don't work for you anymore, and keep adding to it as much as you can. Anywhere you can find the images, to keep adding and keep looking at it. And what you're doing, you're training your eye. And this is the best training you can do as a photographer. You're actually training your eye to understand what you actually like. Then when you go out in a photo shoot and you take a picture and you go, oh, it's just lacking something, it's not working, it hasn't got what I want, it's because it's not a picture that you would put into your folder. So you've now taken a photo that you would never put into your inspiration folder, which means you need to get better at your photography so your photos are good enough to go into your inspiration folder. And then once you can get to a stage where you don't need that inspiration folder anymore because you already know and understand your look, and you can just look at a scene before you even lift the camera and say, that's going to work, oh no, that's crap, it's not going to work. That's already trained your eye. So that's my best advice. Thing is, there's no shortcut, there's no quick fix. I'll finish painting, should I sit around with you?
Yes, we need to keep 1.5 meters away though.
1.5 meters away?
Yeah.
But you never do that with me.
Yes, I do.
Chairs, hang on. Oh, have we got to pretend we're newsreaders?
Yes. Well, have you seen how far away they sit on the project now? Okay, perfect.
Perfect?
Perfect.
I'll cut, sorry. Tip to tip, isn't it? Isn't that 1.5?
That'll be, yeah, that's fine.
But you're out of shot.
Oh, that's fine. We'll be fine here. We're far away.
We did this without drink.
I know. Well, it's 10:40 in the morning. Can the color temperature of a light source or the use of color gels affect the result of a black and white photo?
Yes.
How?
It'll change how your black and white conversion is treating it. Really good trick to do is in a RAW program like ACR, do your image in your very exposure area, set all of that up, click your black and white button, set up the black and white things, you move your reds and yellows, greens, blues, all of those to how you like it. Go back to the exposure area, go into your color balance area, start moving your color balance around and watch how much it changes the tonality of your black and whites. I do it a lot.
Interesting. Apparently you would love Ryan Muirhead's portraits.
Yeah, I do like his work.
I've never heard of him, sorry. When shooting a model who is standing whole body, how low should you set your camera to get a better angle?
Full length as low as you can go.
Yep.
So
Makes the lens look longer.
There's two different thoughts of this. There's the fashion thought, and you see some fashion studios that cycle around, it's actually raised that high off the surrounding, and the photographer's camera is nearly at floor level. Basically, the lower the camera goes, the longer the legs get, the higher the camera goes, the longer the torso gets. But in this day and age, if you're going to shoot for Insta fashion, for influencers,
they don't care.
No, they want long torso, short legs.
Why?
Because that's the iPhone angle that everybody takes it from. They're so used to having their boyfriend just shoot it at eye level. It's got this Insta famous look about it, which is horrible. But
then you have me who's trained my boyfriend to get low to take photos.
No, he's just used to being forced out.
How do you get so much paint on yourself?
Yeah, you haven't seen me eat yet.
Oh my God. Are you still a fan of the bigger pro-styled lights, or do you see it moving towards the smaller, almost as powerful B10 type lights?
Oh, look, I love the B10s and things like that. Look, the smaller they are, for especially when we're traveling, that's great for me. I can't take a Scoro. Well, when we travel in Australia, we quite often take our Scoro packs, and airlines just completely destroyed one of the packs, so it gets really expensive, like insurances and things like that. In the studio, even a lot of times, that second or third light, if I'm going to use that, will quite often be a battery light, because I don't have to worry about cables running around. And it's so much nicer just to grab a light, move it, not have to worry about where your cables are. So yeah, the packs, look, if you have a studio like mine, the packs are really, really handy. But there's not many photographers these days actually have a studio. They tend to rent them now. Yeah. The cost of a place like this is horrendous.
Have you ever tied on a Gamakatsu hook?
Gamakatsu hook, yeah. I worked in fishing. I was a fisherman since the age of 4.
That's why
I actually have a book that I wrote, and it was fourth or fifth edition it's old. So it's a fly fishing book. Yes, no, that's why I have a Gamakatsu shirt. It's because it's one of my old sponsors when I was fishing.
I thought it was a really random question, but that makes a bit more sense now.
You can tell he's a fisherman.
Yeah, okay. I'm learning today. Since your stream with the boob shirt and a Lilith, Dietmar, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, has tried to find a shirt too without success. Any ideas where they might find one of those?
The exact one, ours doesn't even have a brand on it.
Yeah, we don't know where it came from.
We've got some that are similar in different colours. Hang on, you can look at the next question while I find it.
I'll do that. Yes, it's not drinking time for us here, but if you're watching us from America, you guys can drink, but I think it's a bit too early for us. And so guys, I'm just trying to read while Peter finds this. People are saying that awesome advice and they're thanking you. I don't think he can hear me from that far away, so I'm sorry if that just went really loud for you guys.
I'm going dumb. I can't. We have, on our rack, we have 3. I've got my favourite rack. I should wheel it over. There's the actual shirt. And we should have a grey version and a black. There's a grey one. It's a bit different but similar. I just got the grey one. And the grey one came from Skin and Threads. So that is the boob shirt. As you see, the label doesn't exist.
So we don't know.
And I think I found that in maybe Urban Outfitters in America, in LA. I think that's where I found that. So I'd try some of those places, or just if you can find an image like this, do a Google search on that image. It's amazing what you can find with Google searches.
That was cutting your head off. But
was it?
Yeah. Oh. It's set up for sitting.
Must be the Gamakatsus.
Yeah, but that is a good tip that Peter said. So you can do a reverse image search on Google, and that'll search based on a photo and find similar ones. You might be able to find something that way.
Yeah, I've done it with clothing before. When I was looking for, there's a high-waisted undie I wanted for a shoot, and all I did was found a picture and then put it into image search, and it brought up images. And when I looked for similar images, I found a brand that actually made that cut.
People were saying thanks for the advice before as well, and that really.
What advice?
Just everything you've been saying, people have just been thanking. So I was just letting you know that people are liking the things you're saying. Lucas wants to be a photographer. Taking photos of very important and fashionable people, like Rihanna, Beyonce.
Very, very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is there's a couple of, like Marco, I think it's one of him, Marco, something. The people I know who are very successful, you need to be able to get that picture in one frame. He shot, I think it was head of Apple.
Steve Jobs.
He shot that famous picture that Time magazine uses, Steve Jobs. It was one frame. It was in the hallway of coming off stage from his announcement of the iPhone, I think it was. And he literally shot 3 frames. It was the first frame.
And that was
and
the
that
cover.
was it. He basically had 15 seconds. He shot the vice president. He had, I think, 5 seconds to get his shot. So it's a very, very difficult area to get into. Celebrities just do not have time. If you're going to shoot their album cover or something like that, yes, they have time. That's a completely different thing. But if you want to shoot portraits of celebrities, you need to be like a superstar photographer, like a Annie Leibovitz or Patrick Demichelis or someone like that, who a celebrity will say, yeah, I'll give you 3 or 4 hours. Otherwise, you're going to get 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. What's your advice for amateur photographers for taking good photos at home?
Just take lots and get good at it.
Just practice.
It's like anything. My advice to become a really good piano player is practice. And there's that whole thing, 10,000 hours. If you sit in a room and play piano for 10,000 hours, you'll get bloody good at it.
Yeah.
And seriously, it's just practice. There's no shortcut. When you realize there's no shortcut, it's just hard work, you'll actually get it, and just have fun progressing. Like every day you shoot, and make sure that you're really happy with at least 1 frame you've shot. And if you aren't, do something different till you are.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do with video editing at the moment, but it's hard doing it every day. So hello to you as well. Yes, we are in good health and staying away from each other. They want to know what's the recommended length and height for a cyc. They're planning to make one and have a good space rented. Much love.
The higher you can have, the better, because then you can bring people away from the wall. So my early cyc that I had a curled top cyc, was the first one, and that was 4 meters. And that got me by for, I would say, 70% of my shoots. I could get away without having to do something in Photoshop at the top. Width, 3 meters minimum, 5 meters if you can. And length, 6 meters minimum and 10 meters if you can. They would be sort of like my minimum. But it's like anything, it's like this place. When I first moved into this place, within a month of me setting this place up, I go, oh, next door's up for rent. Should I knock a hole through the wall and get that as well? No matter what you've got, you want bigger, because it just gives you more room to do things. And what I've got to do on the cyc tomorrow, I'd love a cyc twice the size. It'd just make my job so much easier of what I'm doing tomorrow. So there's no such thing as too big. A little bit overexposed.
Turn it down a little bit. There we go. Apparently, you're dropping some gem tips tonight. Well, it's tonight in the USA. Kris wants to know, would you rather have coronavirus or become a Kardashian's personal photographer for a year?
Believe it or not, I would actually love the challenge.
Yeah.
No, I'd actually enjoy, my daughter, when she was 18, her 3 mentors in life were the Kardashians, girls of the Playboy Mansion, and John Cena. Like, what's happened to the world? But yeah, as much as I don't like the whole plastic, I would love to be able to try and capture some real, and I'd love to be able to even work with Jenna. Is it Jenna? What's the more modelly one? Kylie?
Kendall.
Kendall. The Kendall, I'd love to do a shoot with, well, even, yeah, all of them. I'd love to actually try and get real out of them, get away from plastic selfie and try and actually get in a real emotion, not something that's staged and thought about.
Yeah. And photoshopped to hell and back.
Yeah, and I don't like being sick, so I don't want any virus.
No, thank you.
I have a virus that works for me.
Peter, you got a part-time shop?
Part-time shop?
I'm not too sure.
I don't have any shop.
No. Sorry. How did you create your grunge wall? This is something that we get this all the time.
If we were going to have a frequently asked area, it would be the grunge wall.
How did we do this? It was hand painted, but using a few different colours, wasn't it? No, just
all shades of grey.
All shades of grey.
So we bought some black, some white, and some grey paint, 18% grey, and we just did mixes of them to get the different shades. Predominantly we ended up, I think, with 4 different shades from black to white without using perfect white or pitch black. We can't do a live stream because for us to build a wall is going to take 2 to 3 days, but we are going to do a longer tutorial on our Inspire of how to make one of our L-shaped walls, and then we're going to grunge it.
So it'll be similar.
We'll do a sort of a sped up version for YouTube showing that, but we've been wanting to do that next week. Yeah. I know it looks like we're going to do some stuff next week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week's filling up quickly.
Yeah, it's a chance in Victoria, Australia, that they might start lifting restrictions. I can work commercially, it's just that a lot of other people
don't want to leave their house.
Or they don't think they're legally allowed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, our government in Victoria is supposed to lift some of these restrictions. So lots of people have pre-booked us for next week.
Yes. Is there such a thing as a bad catch light? Too big, too small, wrong shape, etc.?
No. Shouldn't think about photography like that. Don't look at the actual catch light. Look at the contrast in the shadows that you're trying to create. So the smaller the light source, the quicker the contrast is going to fall off. And just do it to eye. Just don't even worry about camera club stuff. Just look at it and go, I like it or I don't like it. It's that simple. As soon as you try and bring numbers in and paint by numbers, that's where your photos aren't going to have soul. They're not going to have your sense of humor or your taste. And it's like I say, the worst thing to do is put somebody else's actions on your photograph, or use, I'm doing a fair bit of work with LUTs, but I'm building my own LUT that I'm liking. I might be grabbing somebody else's LUT, so I might use a teal orange, but then I am readjusting that teal orange to the type of teal orange that suits that picture. And even then, I won't use that LUT again because it'll be redesigned for every single photo.
Cool. I should actually put this in the description with the paint that you use for the psych. It's
Dulux 101 matte.
Matte, yes. I should put that in the description. I will do that.
I don't know if Dulux sells around the world.
Oh, really?
Oh, I don't know. I've got no idea.
They were.
But if you typed in Dulux 101 matte, you should be able to then find an equivalent to whatever country you're in.
Did you build the psych or contract someone to build it for you?
I contracted someone and sacked them on the second day and built it myself.
I'm having all kinds of fun with Mother Nature, who's...
Oh, we got suns.
We got sun and cloud, and then sun and then cloud. So sorry if my manual exposing isn't too good. Red 8K or Canon 8K? I know Red is so much better, but they wanted to ask you.
Why do you need 8K? You can't... I don't understand. I was having this talk actually with Hasselblad the other day. I don't understand everybody wanting a 150 megapixel camera. Nobody is using it. You tell me once when you've used 100 megapixel or even 50 megapixel. All it's doing is creating sloppy people.
I want an 8K TV.
Sorry?
I want an 8K TV.
But there's hardly any content in 8K to watch. And I think 4K is well and truly sharp enough for, an 8K TV if the TV was double the size of my 4K, yes. I seriously don't get the whole thing, but look, Red is a hell of a lot more expensive than Canon, but they've got their different areas. If you don't have the money, jump on a Canon. If you got the money, jump on a Red. But I still think I would be rather putting the money into an amazing 4 or 6K and having the better quality pixels. To me, I want quality pixels. I don't care so much about the resolution. I want the quality. And I'm not into shooting out really big so you can zoom in and crop in later. A really good cinematographer or a really good movie maker will move the camera to zoom in. They won't do it later on in post.
Is there a case for magnolia emulsion in the modern era?
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Magnolia emulsion. It's a look. Yes, definitely not a. You can do any. There's still a very, very good area for painting with oils. So once something's been invented, it can be used forever. And Tarantino's last couple of movies is using really old lenses and stocks and things like that to get that look that he wants. So there is no, there's still a place for medium and large format cameras, just commercially, it's too expensive and slow.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What are you shooting tomorrow, a semi-truck?
No, we're doing a music video. Can't say any more than that.
Peter, what do you think is the best way to get into the fashion photography industry, and is being a senior a limitation to get into it?
Yeah, being a senior is harder because they look at you as an old guy with a camera that they've never heard of before. But then a lot of magazines, especially in Australia, had their fingers burnt by grabbing the newest sensation out, and on their very first commercial gig could not produce what they produced on social media. So when they're just left for 4 or 5 days and 3 weeks to edit a series of photos, they look amazing. But when they've only got 3 hours to shoot it and it needs to be edited in an hour, they can't reproduce that work. So, but the fashion industry is in a really, really weird place, and it was before what's happened now. It's at the bottom at the moment, so now is a good time to get your skill level set for as it grows again, that you then become a name that people know. There's hundreds of online fashion magazines. Shoot some shit and get it to them. If you're not sure what you're doing, just look at some really low-end online magazine and work with that one. And then build up your skills to then step up the line. The other thing is, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. Just show the world your work. If it's good, you'll find that ad agencies and magazines will find you anyway.
Apparently they've lost my mic, so...
They've lost your mic?
But it's all turned on.
Lost your mic. Hello, Mike.
Oh, yeah, it's gone really quiet for me. Everything's all still on, though.
All on?
Yeah.
Maybe you're not talking loud enough.
Maybe. Should I talk louder? Can you guys hear me now? Let me check that.
Oh, you're going to check it. You need to ask me a question, so I'll try and read.
Okay.
You going to do it?
Louder, yeah.
Just talk louder.
Okay, I'll talk loud. Do you like Turkey, as in the country, not the food?
Never been there, but I'd love to go there.
It looks really cool. I'd like to go there as well. Dan said that I am truly blessed to be working with Peter, and how many people would give a bunch to be in my place. Yes, I do know that. I am very lucky, and I do love my job a lot, and yeah.
I'm unlucky.
Yeah, poor Peter has to put up with me all the time though, but my life's great.
It's funny, we have both sides, the amount of people say I'm lucky to have you.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think he's that lucky to have
I've got
me.
not a model at hand whenever I need one.
I guess, but I'm also kind of annoying and drink all of your wine.
That's all right.
When I say kind of annoying, really annoying.
I keep pushing my attitudes on you till I make you a mini me. It's really funny. It's amazing how she now has similar political views as me.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. She likes country and western music now.
No, I don't. What about ring light catch lights? They're kind of weird.
Yeah, if you find them weird, don't use them. Seriously, don't look at photography books. Look at famous photographers showing you their photos. Don't look at how to. I've got a whole heap of books out the back of, I would have 60 books about lighting and things like that. I couldn't tell you the last time I looked at one, and I couldn't tell you that I ever finished looking through any of the books properly, because it is all not how I think about light. I think about light as in recreating what Mother Nature's given me. And I'm looking at ways to recreate that lighting of that light coming through a window or so forth. So things, if you don't like a catch light or you don't like rim lights and things like that, don't use them. Don't let other people talk you into it. Some of the best photographers in the world pretty much stick to one type of light. Like, a lot of Peter Lindbergh's work is very cinematography type. So if he's not using natural light, he's using big HMIs and big cinematography style of lighting to replicate what Mother Nature might have given you for 1 second that day.
Sven says hi from Shepparton. Hello. What technique do you use to build the halo around the models? Do you do that in focus, which is the Hasselblad RAW?
Those your learnings.
Yeah,
I use toilet paper on a Pro Photo and put the halo on you. So if you go to the poo paper shoot, you'll see the halo that's on Beck in that, and you'll be able to see how I created that halo, and that was completely done with lighting. Or if you are lucky enough to own a Hasselblad, you can use V1 of the exposure setting and the clarity tool, and the shadow fill tool will create halos when you push them really heavy and they don't sharpen, so it doesn't look like clarity. Or 6 layers in Photoshop.
I was about to say that one. Oh, this sun is giving me absolute grief.
Or you could do what you used to do, put it onto auto. No, don't.
No, thanks. I've watched your exposure tutorial and know why you would never do that. Peter, can you name some influencers, photographers or otherwise?
Well, I can only name the ones that I like. My favourite ones, which are Peter Lindbergh, Patrick Demicheli, Irving Penn, Avedon. But see, there's so many different photographers out there that the fashion photographers. If you, in fact, go on to, there's a site called models.com. If you go on there, there's a whole heap of photographers listed on there, which are the modern day fashion photographers, and you can look at all their work on there, and you can find the photographers that you like on there of the commercial high-end working ones. Greg Cadell, he does some really nice stuff. Tim Walker does awesome stuff. Nick Knight. I can go on for area. Mario's, both Sassini and
Serenity.
Get a Kate Moss book and look at all the photographers she's worked with, or look at Naomi Campbell's book and look at what photographers she's worked with.
Yeah. People are agreeing with you about 8K and the pixels.
Yeah, seriously, don't. And I really had a serious discussion with one of the high guys in Hasselblad about future cameras, and I said, if you look at Canon, look at Nikon, their top pro camera is around 20 megapixel. So medium formats, top pro camera should be sitting around about 40 to 50 megapixel on a full frame, which is the size of the 100 megapixel sensor, and give me really good quality color, give me really good quality so I can get stunning gradients, and so I can have incredibly high ISOs without bringing too much noise in. That's what I want. I don't need a file size of 100 megapixel because I'm never going to use it. All my work, I do 2 meter high window shots without any tricky interpolation that you'd swear was shot, and I can do that easily on a 40 megapixel camera.
Doesn't need any more than that. If you could only take one more photo, what would it be? That's a good one.
It would be the best photo I've ever taken. Well, then I would never want to take another photo. So if I take the best photo I could ever take, I would never want to take another photo because it wouldn't be better. That was a tricky answer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very tricky. The only solution to avoid the clouds is to light us.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
We could do that, but we're too lazy.
Yeah.
We have enough trouble setting up. You saw all the gear sitting behind Beck to try and get live stream, so sound is sort of good.
Yeah.
Beck hates live stream. She nearly.
Actually, I don't hate them.
You're getting better at it.
Getting better. Getting there.
Back on the other thing is, if I could only ever take one photo again, it would be of Kate Moss.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
But it wouldn't be the best picture I've ever taken. Otherwise, I'd want to do it again.
Maybe my hair is why they couldn't hear me.
No, it'll get through your hair.
Okay. Your studio is someone's inspiration for their studio, which is in progress.
Awesome. This studio is a little bit based on something I saw many years ago when a photographer moved into a new studio in a factory, and I thought, oh my God, I'd love that. I'd never have that. There's no way in the world I'll ever have that. And within 4 years, I had something twice the size of what they had. Cool. I didn't go out on purpose to it, just things happen. Some of the people that talk about growing your business and growing yourself as a person, they normally say, put photos on the wall of what you actually want and look at them every day. And with that very short time, you'll actually have a mood board. Yeah. You'll actually start having the stuff that you didn't think you'd ever be able to own.
Talking about that with my girlfriends the other night. I was thinking about doing that just for myself. I think it's a really good idea.
You've got pictures of Mandragora and Bring Me.
Peter, stop it. Shut up.
And the winery.
So we are moving on.
Are you scared Mandragora might come in?
Please. Do photographers now expect too much success too early?
Everybody does. Not just photographers. Everybody. The amount of musicians, DJs, models, actors, singers, everybody wants to go from zero to hero in half an hour. You can do that, but you find that the companies that grow really quick like that and the one-hit wonders that grow really quick like that is because there's no depth in the experience. They went from where they started to where they ended up. And I know from where I started, the images I was shooting were completely different to what I'm shooting now. They're nothing like it. You're still low.
I couldn't hear. I was just checking. You people are telling to check the batteries, so.
Check the batteries.
Oh no, I can hear myself.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, everybody wants to. If you try and rush it, you actually won't end up really that good because there's so many mistakes you need to make, which will make you better at whatever you do. It's those mistakes where you learn from. You don't learn from doing something perfect. You only learn from fucking something up, right, Beck?
Yes.
Like hard drives and...
Yes. Harley's best photos are always those that they make a connection with the model. When that connection is not there, the photos suffer. Helpful hints.
100%. Becca's seen it. We've had a pretty girl next door come in. I can't get a single photo off her. Then we'll get somebody else will walk in, and Beck will sort of look at her and go, and all of a sudden, kapow, we get the incredible photos. So yeah.
I don't think I really go, oh. But...
Well, once or twice you have.
I have. I don't think so. It makes me sound horrible. These are helpful hints though. So to.
Yeah, it's.
I guess just talking. Just talk to the model and find out what you guys have in common. Get the model relaxed is the biggest thing, and Beck will be able to answer this because she's started to do a couple of shoots recently, and just a couple of comments she's made of how uncomfortable she was feeling. Well, she knew a fact that she's not going to get good photos out of it because she wasn't feeling comfortable. So, but then the ones that I'm feeling comfortable, I get awesome shots. So yeah, so it is very important that I always have some time spent at the start to go through with the model, let her have a lot of say in what we're doing and get her to understand we only shoot to her comfort zone and I don't need to see your boobs. All these things that scare the models when they come in here and they go, oh, I'd love to do an implied topless shoot, but nobody's allowed to see my boobs, but Peter can do it and I can still wear a bra. Oh, I love this because I really want one of those shots. And instantly they're on your side and you've actually said, I'm not interested in seeing you, so I want to take great photos. I'm not interested in looking at you. I just want to, and that makes most models so relaxed about just getting down to creating a beautiful photo. No hidden agenda to it. Yeah. And as long as you can just get them to understand that, I agree. I don't think there's anything else I would add. There's still the odd model that I don't click with. But that's just normal. That's just how the world works. You're not going to get along with every person in the world. But so I was just trying to think if there was anything if I wanted to add from the other side of the camera, but I can't think. I think you covered everything. Peter, how much do you shoot for pleasure versus projects? My own projects are normally, if it's my project, that's pleasure, because it's something I've storyboarded and a project that I've been working on. Like I have a couple of projects based on my love of Kate Moss.
So there's 2 photos that I love of Kate Moss, and I don't want to copy them. I just took the essence and then built a series on that, a similar pose but in a different environment. And so my projects I do is 100% mine. Working with clients is a different type of pleasure. It's normally coming out with a finished product that I can see the client's really, really happy with, and it's going to help their business grow. I get a lot of pleasure out of that. I don't get any pleasure out of working with a large ad agency who have really dumb art directors who are stubborn that their idea is the only idea, and it might be a really dumb idea, but halfway through the shoot when nothing's working, they're not prepared to change an inch on it. They're the shoots I hate, but they normally pay more.
Do you or will you ever shoot film again?
I do shoot film.
Yeah, it's just expensive.
It's expensive and slow. Well, I've got an Ecamm scanner at home. I decided to scan all the shots that I'd done last year on film.
Yeah, that's right.
And that took me a day and a half.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's such a long time for, I think there was only like 200 things I scanned. It's just ridiculously
it's so slow.
and I still haven't shown it the world. There's an awesome series with Anne, which I really have to bring out. I want to do it as a big print, as the strips, because it just looks so cool.
Was it the bunnies in?
No, the bunny ears in Paris.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh no, it was the bunny ears here.
Oh, yes.
Remember I shot on the Hasselblad film? Yeah,
that'll be cool.
I looked at the other day again and thought I got to get this finished.
Not a question, but wanted to thank you for freely sharing so much of your knowledge. You're uplifting the entire community.
I'm not that strong. But no, one thing that I don't like, and I use social media a bit to source information for myself, and I really don't like people only telling half a story. I don't like people having secrets or having a hidden agenda behind why this camera is so good because someone's paid them to say that. I will say bad things about Hasselblad if you want me to. I'm not going to, but you follow me. All cameras are good. It's just this is the one that suits me. It's not going to suit everybody, and I wish more people on YouTube are a little bit more transparent and a little bit more real. So Beck and I from day one said we didn't want this highly polished channel. People are just going to see who we really are. If they like us, they like us. If they don't, I don't care. Because they won't watch me. And it's like, if I don't like someone, I don't watch them.
They'll take the time to leave a comment and then they won't. Which blows my mind. Lucas wants to know what your photo machine advice for buying a machine first time. I think he means a camera.
A camera? Well, look at your budget, and if you really have got no idea what you want to buy, jump onto YouTube and type in best camera for this amount of money. Yep. And then don't listen to one, go through, see if you can look at 10 or 15 different reviews, and you should be able to see an underlining thing that's pointing. What's his name? Clock?
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, his reviews are always really, really good. I can't think of his friggin' name. If we remember, I'll put it in the description.
And he said that he respects us. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Are you running any discounts now for Inspire because everyone's stuck at home?
If you send Beck a message, she'll sort something out for you. She'll do. We can do a little YouTube code. What can we do? You can throw a code in.
I could throw a little code in.
Yeah. So, but it'll only it's not worth it for the monthly, because we can only put a code in to use once. Yeah. So it'd have to be yearly. Beck will put code in the description, and it'll only be in the description for a month. Yeah. So anybody who sees this within a month of this date can grab that code, and what are you going to give them? 15% off?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
She'll give you a 15% off code.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, with that, like Peter said, it will only work for the first month. So
we can only keep a code running for a month. We have to recreate the code.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. The L-shape backdrop, did George hear that you were planning on a tutorial on how to build one? Yes.
Yes,
we are. We might do it.
We're supposed to do it this week, but we got a little bit busy.
Yeah.
And next week's looking a bit busy, but the week after.
I think
the week after we can slot
pretty
in.
free, so we can do it then.
Yep. And I want a new wall to shoot against. I just need something to shoot then.
Well, hopefully if restrictions ease so we can shoot with people. Shoots. Sorry, because some of them aren't questions, so it looks like a big paragraph, but it's not actually a question, so I just have to take my time reading that, and then it turns out that it wasn't a question. Sorry, are you single? Both of us.
Single?
No, you didn't say both of us. I don't know who was answering, but no, Peter's been married for how long?
Scary. I would have got less time if I'd murdered half the world.
Yeah, you've been with Sheree for like 40 years.
Longer than 42 years. I started dating her when I was 17.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, it's sickening, isn't it? And Beck's been with Jared. When you found him on Tinder last week, wasn't it?
I've been with him for 6 years. Everyone's just saying that they love watching us. Thank you guys, we appreciate it. Sorry for my awkward silences. I am just trying to read and get to questions. What's the wireless audio system you're using? We are using these Sennheiser lapels and a Behringer sound mixer. I put the sound mixer down in the description, but I can put the mics as well.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing we do use when we're recording stuff which is not for live, so if we're recording stuff that is going to be, or just not live because these won't work live, these little Tuscan things, these are great. They're nice and small. They just, memory card goes into them, it records it, and then you can just load them in and then sync it up with your cameras later. So we use these a lot when we're doing stuff for Inspire or non-live YouTube stuff.
People are saying that we should use the continuous light to light us to fix the cloud issue. That's all right.
It's a bit hard when we're painting to set up the continuous light to light that whole psych area. And we're not. This channel isn't supposed to be. We're not being slack. It's just that we're very busy, and these little sessions are sort of. It already takes Beck an hour and a half to set this up. And then if we set up lighting and then on top of that, and then especially if I'm painting, the sun's coming up again. We thought we picked a day that was supposed to be cloudy and overcast, but it
was.
It was.
And I was so excited for how overcast it was because it would make my life easier.
And it's not about quality of lighting us anyway. No. We didn't even look to where we sat.
Yeah, no, it's really the bad lighting on us. I already asked that one. Can you offer some hints on light and lighting?
Yeah, keep it simple. Just don't go stupid. You can get away with one light. If you can only afford one light, something like a large umbrella, silver umbrella with a big white sock, so you can turn it from an octabox into an umbrella. And if you get one of those ones that you can change the umbrella, so then you could have a diffused shoot-through umbrella, that's going to give you about 10 different looks. And it's really cheap and easy. And you can travel the world with that in your suitcase.
We do that.
And we do that.
They say they have so much trouble with sunlight in photos.
I love full sun. Yeah. Bestest thing. I hate overcast days for photograph.
Full sun makes your skin look smooth.
Yeah, you need light. Photography is painting with light. A heavy overcast day, you do not have light. You have no direction of light, and it's the most disgusting light in the world. And when we run our natural light workshops, we always set them between 10 and 2 o'clock, like the time most photographers don't want to shoot. And we want full sun days to show how many different looks we can get. The door's very noisy.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to pick that up because it's. I hope you guys can't hear that. It's pretty windy and it's hitting one of the doors. Your photos are incredible and they learn a lot from your videos.
Thank you.
People's thanking you for your inspiration. So, someone says they hope that you realize you are one of those big, great names to many of everyone watching us right now.
Yeah, I'm just,
That's
look,
nice.
seriously, they're very nice, but that embarrasses me.
I
Seriously, I learnt to stop listening to people and just shoot what I love. And many a times I have clients saying, oh, could you tame it down a bit? Can you do this? Can you shoot more color? Can you do? And I turn around and say, but this is me. And if you don't want to use my services, you don't have to. But I'm not going to change who I am because I can't. My wife couldn't change me, so nobody else is going to change me. And it's very, very important that if you want to be creative, that you just create. You be like a painter. You sit in an empty room on your own for 6 months painting a masterpiece without anybody else giving you any influence. And then it's 100% your soul, and then people will relate to it because they'll see you within that painting.
No. What is your current biggest challenge / struggle, both of us? Mine's that I can't get my nails done. I don't have my talons. That's my biggest struggle.
And second biggest?
I can't get my lips done.
Can't get lips done. I've said I could punch her in the face and get the same effect, but she didn't like that. Sorry, do not hurt women. That was a joke. It's just a joke. Because after she has them done with, last time she had it done with in London, and everybody looked at me and said, I punched her because she had those big bruises around her. And I was sort of like, don't look at me, I had nothing to do with this. She paid for that.
But I miss my nails. That's my biggest struggle at the moment. What's yours?
Right this minute, my struggle is I really, really enjoy my interaction with people, and that's been completely taken away from me.
I'm the same, to be honest.
I really enjoy meeting new people. I really enjoy working. Like us, Tanya, one of the models I work with a lot, we worked out that we have not done a shoot since December last year. Well, that's just like
and
never.
That's someone that normally comes in like once a month. Yeah.
So it's things like that which I'm struggling with a lot. And in the future, a little bit, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I still make, I would say, 70% of my earnings come offshore, not in Australia, outside Australia. Mm. And the way our local government's talking is we'll never be able to fly again if they had their way. Oh, you know, he's like,
no way.
Yeah, but he's talking 1-2 years. So I want to get back. It's not that I love and hate traveling. So as a part of traveling, I love the food, the meeting people. I hate customs, airports, Airbnbs, hotels, taxis. I hate all of that stuff. But I do love the eating food around the world and meeting different people all over the world. Gee, it's gone dark. I'm joking.
Do you have any thoughts on the D850?
D850, yeah, that's a Nikon
I think so.
DSLR. If I'm right, that's a Nikon DSLR. Yeah, look, I've never used it, but everything I hear, it's their second best camera. So yeah, the D850, and I think the Canon, it'd be like the Canon's equivalent to their 5D. Yeah, very good value for money cameras. I'm not a fan on either Nikon or Canon's mirrorless. I am a fan of Nikon and Canon. I just do not like their mirrorless. I think Sony and Fuji and Pentax, a few of the others, got the jump on them by 4 years, and I think they're running at about 2 years behind now. So if you want to go into mirrorless and you want it to be a Nikon or Canon, wait another 1 or 2 models, then go into it, or buy a Sony or one of the other ones and then swap your way back later.
Apparently the files are huge on the D850 and it's heavier than the D750.
Yeah, they'll be huge, but they won't be anything like the size of my files. So.
Oh yeah, yours are nice.
And like I buy 4 terabyte hard drives now for $180. So it's memory's not as big an issue. But yeah, if you are worried about the weight and file size, something like the Sony 640, 650, I think there's a 65, 64, and I think it's a 66, a new one, I think.
Yeah.
They're nice and light. They're all right. They're a cropped sensor, but they're beautiful and light. And Beck loves.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's what I do for filming my gimbal. Yes, the YouTuber who does camera reviews is Lok Chung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love the guy. He's just so funny. He's really cool.
Really good reviews. Peter is wearing the designer Gamma Katsu. I can't say. Is that how I say it?
Gamakatsu.
I can't say it. Trying. Peter, what is your post-pandemic project? Have you done any work in Brazil?
I've been to Brazil once before. Got ripped off by a complete dodge over there. Steer clear of Fine Art Brazil. Fine Art, yeah. Brazil, for Fine Art Brazil, I think
it was before my time.
His name's Miguel. Absolute dodgiest person in the world. The amount of photographers he ripped off.
That's not good.
Not good, but I was over there and absolutely loved it. I did Rio, Sao Paulo, and Cupertino, something like that. Really had a ball. The people are so nice, and your barbecue is the best in the world. Oh my God, I've never eaten so much in my life. And I even found one bar that sold Southern Comfort, so it wasn't a complete disaster. But we would love to get back there. We just got to see what's going to happen with the world. Hopefully, if they can find a vaccine for this, within a year, the world will be back to where it was in the way of travel. If they can't find a vaccine for it, I don't know what's going to happen with the cost of flying.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning. We'll have to wait and see. What light would you recommend for beginners, brand or?
People are going to hate me, I'm not a gearhead, but I really feel light is so important in a photo, so is a lens. If I was going to invest, I'd just buy one good light, and it would be something like a Pro Photo. It's mainly because if you change your mind and want to sell it, you will still get good return for it. Whereas if you buy the really cheap shit, try and sell a cheap one second hand. They basically value drops ridiculously. The good quality lights. I've got lights in my studio which are 25 years old, but they were of the Broncolor Bowens Pro Photo. Their gear just lasts forever. It just doesn't go down. If you have to go less, I'd say in the what I call the bottom end, and I'm not putting anyone down because I know we don't all have money to spend, but the Godox seems to be a good value for money, and Alan Crom's another one, but there is some pretty strong issues if you just want to try and do commercial style shooting. You're running into trouble with hot days. Hot days might give them problems. Batteries tend to die really quick on cold days. If the light gets too hot, it might need to sit on its own for 2 hours and you can't shoot. Speed of being able to shoot, if you've got a camera that you sort of shoot 2 frames a second, the light mightn't keep up to that. So lots of that stuff. But you can only go with what you can afford.
Do you like the work of Mark Seliger?
Not sure if I know it.
Yeah,
I don't spend a lot of time looking at photographers anymore. I did when I was just getting into it, but now I hardly go searching for new photographers.
P.S. Beck, you are awesome. Thank you very much. I try.
So you say.
Are we coming to Miami anytime soon? Well,
no.
Probably not, considering we can't fly, but when we do get back to America, we will be doing, we can fly, we will be doing LA, New York, and Austin, Texas. Miami, I looked at Miami last year, but it seems a lot of the, I don't know, the industry, because the industry seems to be more like bikini, kind of more men magazine-y. That's the vibe I was getting when I was looking at it, and that's why I guess Peter doesn't have a big following there. But I hope that helps. I'm bad at finding my words today. Random, but what do you think of the new iPhone camera?
Yeah, they're incredible. I mean, I'm not even on the latest one, and I think they're good, and I've seen some shots off the new one. Yeah, to the point of I haven't started doing it yet, but I do have a gimbal for my iPhone, and I'm going to start doing some video work just with the iPhone because of the lightness and ease of doing some stuff with it. And yet, both the video and stills camera is amazing for what it is. You have some control over it with some apps that we control your aperture and shutter and things like that. So I normally use the apps so I can still shoot manually. But yeah, no, it's friggin' awesome.
How difficult is it to push a client to accept your style and ideas? Would you compromise?
If they're paying me, I do what they want.
Yeah.
It's that simple. They're the boss. I'll give my suggestions, but at the end of the day, I've had some clients with some of the dumbest ideas in the world. I've given my suggestions. They liked what their ad agency or whatever had suggested. The campaign then becomes the flop. I was right, they were wrong, but then that's my fault because my photos didn't sell their work. I have had a couple of clients where they've come back to me and said, what would have you done differently? And then I've told them, and then they said, can we reshoot it? I normally do a deal with them so they're not paying double. We reshoot it, then they see instantly, they get a reaction to their product, then I've got a client for life. And we've got clients, Beck's seen the clients, we've got so many clients just say, whatever you reckon, Peter. Yeah. Do it whatever you reckon. And I just basically ask them a very simple question. What emotion do you want the viewer to feel when they look at the photo? What one emotion? You can only put one emotion into a picture. And if they can't tell me, I tell them to go away till they can tell me. Do they want them to feel happy, sad, angry? They've got to have that emotion because we've got to put that little edge into the photo with that emotion.
It's going to make it different.
Yeah.
Greetings from Singapore. They were at your last Zeiss workshop in Singapore. Saying
that was fun. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that.
I want to go to Singapore.
Singapore, chili crab. Oh my God, their chili crab is to die for.
Slings.
You're into alcohol, I'm on food. Oh my God.
Would you use the Sony 7R Mark IV?
I wouldn't buy it. I don't need the megapixel. I'm 100% happy with the Mark III. So at the moment, I have got no reason that I would want to buy the Mark IV because I don't want more megapixels. I want better pixels, not more of them. I'm really keen to see what they're going to do with the S3. That's the camera I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, the R4 is still a great camera, but I'm not going to upgrade from a camera that I already love to a camera. It'll be the same, but just have bigger files.
Yeah, it's really not much point. Robert knows you don't use Lightroom, but do any of the tutorials on Inspire go through a retouch using Lightroom? It's a challenge to make similar investments, time and money to learn different software.
Yeah, no, I don't use Lightroom. I
know we don't have any tutorials with it.
Yeah, I don't do any tutorials because I actually don't like the program. It doesn't allow me to have the control over the photo. It's more, what's it called? Filter based that you can go click, 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 click. Oh, I like that filter. That didn't mean that's not your work.
Yeah.
That is somebody else's look you've put on your photo, which means it's very hard for you to get a style that is your style. You'll be able to get a look, but there'll be a million other people in the world hitting that same button.
Yeah. Peter, do your clients hire you for your distinctive look or for your creative vision, or do they often insist on you executing shoots to their vision? It's funny how much of Peter's commercial work is in color. So much of it is in color. The client that flew all the way from Germany that he mentioned before, none of the stuff was in black and white. It was all color.
Nothing was,
Nothing was black and white.
Both shoots were all color.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I have different levels, different types of clients. I have the client that comes through an ad agency, and quite often are you going to make coffees?
I was getting water, but do you want a coffee? I can make a coffee.
If you make a quick one, yeah, I can talk for a bit.
Yeah, I'll make a coffee.
This will take me a minute. I have my clients that come in and they'll have gone into an agency, they've picked a model, they've gone through that model's book, and they might have picked the model based on a photo I'd taken, and then flick through the book and go, no, but we want that look. And then they'll find out from the agency, who was the photographer who shot this picture, because that's the feel that we want for our campaign. All my new clients tend to come more through that way, where that they'll have seen an image of mine and want that feel in their campaign. So with that, they're just looking at my interaction with another person to be able to get that feel. I then have the next person who just loves my work and it's pretty much the client from Germany. She just adores the depth in my photos, but she's not looking at me as a black and white photographer or an emotive person photographer. She likes my lighting and my depth I get into the light and the details I get into blacks. So all of her work was in color, but she was 100% happy, and most of the stuff I did with her was like really lightly retouched, and again, that's what she liked. They felt real, they didn't feel photoshopped, they felt like they came, what you see with your eyes, and that was the look she was after. I then have stuff that comes through more ad agencies, and I had one recently where the ad agencies, most of them have no idea in the world what they're not creative at all. So what they do, they put out a feelers. They might see, well, recently we had someone saw one of my photos and actually used one of my photos as a mood board for the shoot. And I was invited to tender for it, but I had to come up with a whole story for their campaign. So they wanted me to fully storyboard it, give them all the little drawings and all, which is not, that's not how I work. I have a rough outline, and then I grow a shoot on the day depending on the talent. Every model's different, and if I'm fixed into this story and this model turns up and it's just not going to work with him or her, I have got the ability to quickly rearrange a new story, but still tells the still long term of the story. But still gives me a story at the end, but it might be in a different type of a way. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't really like working with the ad agencies a lot, because they 1 minute say they want my look, but then they want to control it, which means then it's not my look anymore. But I hope that helps.
We're about to lose the battery on that. I'm trying to find another one, unless you wanted to wrap this up.
No, didn't I got one on charge over there?
That's one in there now.
Oh, so did you put that one on charge? The one you took out?
Yeah, it's been charging.
Oh, can't you just swap that over now?
I can. I don't know how much it'll have.
That's right. Just ask a question anyway. Or you can just switch to a different camera.
What's the other one going to look like on us? Oh, there we go. We're over there now. We're on that one now. We're very small though.
Oh. Well, of course we're small. We're a long way away. You should just roll it over.
I can do that.
You can do that.
Oh, I need to stay away from you. You need to keep my distance.
Yeah, I know. You smell a bit. Oh, now they're going to have shaky footage while you reel us around.
There we go. That looks a bit nicer.
But
what?
Sort of weird me looking back there.
Yeah, I know it's a bit. I'm going to move it over this way.
Sorry about back being awkward.
Back's always awkward.
Couldn't you just gone onto the gimbal, or you've turned that one off already?
It's died.
It's died. Is that better now?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Cool.
Hey, okay. Next question was, one of your recent videos where you shot back and used the Hasselblad program for editing, said in the video you would redo them in Lightroom as well.
I did on Inspire, not Lightroom, ACR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't use Lightroom, so I would have said Adobe Camera Raw, ACR. There's a big difference. If you take a file into Lightroom, you'll see it load and then you'll see it change. If you take the same picture into ACR, it it will load, it won't change. It doesn't do this change, and that's why I don't use Lightroom. I don't like the change it made, and what I've been told that happens is you put it into Lightroom, Lightroom turns it into a DNG, throwing some of the information away, and then ACR works on a DNG file. When you take it into ACR, not into Lightroom, you then are working on the raw file that came out of your camera, not a DNG version of that raw file. So that is one of the main reasons why I don't use Lightroom. But I do use ACR, and I think on YouTube there's a few, I think there's only one retouch tutorial that's actually done on the Hasselblad software. The rest have been done on ACR. It's a hard thing. Even though I do education and that, I am an educator, but I don't see myself as a broad educator. I'm more a educator, and people want to know how I do what I do and how my mind works to come up with stupid ideas of a girl standing with a shovel, just stuff like that. That's what I do, and when they ask to see my retouching, I'm going to show them how I retouch. I'm not going to do tutorials on 30 other programs that I don't use and don't like using, because that's not my work. And if Apple, please listen, someone from Apple, listen, please bring Aperture back, because I think the world really needs that program back. It's one of the best raw convert programs ever, and you can tether any camera to it. It was just awesome. And then it'd be the perfect world, except everyone would have to own Apples, not PCs.
That would be the perfect world.
Your boyfriend wouldn't like it very much.
Oh well.
He's a PC person.
Oh well. Are we plan on ever doing a Chicago seminar? You've been to Chicago before?
Yeah, we did the Bean. That's where the Bean is, isn't it?
I think so. I've never been.
Deep dish pizzas, is that Chicago?
I've never been.
Please don't laugh. Don't laugh. You're encouraging her. She'll sit there and giggle now for the rest of the day because she thinks she's funny.
So funny.
Yeah, Chicago.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done. Is that where Flern's based out of? I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've been. Yeah, because I haven't been to Boston. So yeah, Chicago. Been to Chicago. Love your city. So gothic-y. Those buildings, absolutely adored. And yeah, saw the Bean and played with the Bean. And
the thing with us doing workshops is there are so many places we would love to go. We just need enough interest that is then going to turn into bookings, because it needs to be worthwhile for us. And also there is only so many days in a week and weeks in a year.
Well, we were pretty much solidly booked for the end of the year.
Yep.
So we were before.
And now it's just like counts to the crickets.
The crickets. Yeah, we'd be in Europe right now. Yeah, we'd be eating pizza.
Yeah, we'd be at that awesome pizza place in Zurich.
Anyway, we won't go into that. The biggest problem with everybody wants us in all these cities. It costs a lot for us to travel, and it costs a lot. Basically, I have an overhead that sits on my head every day, and when we travel, that overhead is still there, but now I've got all the costs of traveling on top, which is your flights, accommodation, taxis, Airbnbs, studio hire,
lights, model,
eating. Like we've got to eat every restaurant's not all the time. So we need to be able to sell out a workshop. If we have to struggle to sell out a workshop, it's not worth us going there, because we can sit here in Melbourne, Australia and work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We don't need to get on a plane and travel, but we like doing that. So it's the only reason. Yes. We'll go to places like New York, LA, always sells out. We know that there's cities that always sell out. Last year we went to Orlando and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
We really struggled to get, even though lots of people said come, we went there and then really struggled. I think we made a loss.
You need to get a new battery in there.
She's running around doing batteries. Have you got another camera to zip back to? Oh my God. You can't just pull that out. You need to get that camera back up and running. You don't think ahead, do you? See, I employ her for this. It means I need to read without my reading glasses on.
I want it very. Oh wait, shit! I need to turn this off first.
Sorry, I haven't got my reading glasses
then
on, so
there was a question. So, someone said that they wouldn't even say Godox is really good value.
All right, well, that thing, I don't have any Godox. I do know of quite a few photographers who use them. My old assistant, old assistant, she went to Godox and likes them because they're cheap. But when she borrowed my Pro Photos and used them on a commercial shoot, she said, oh my God, there's a massive difference between those lights, and maybe I've picked the wrong lights, because even though I couldn't afford to buy 4 of these, I could have afforded to buy 2 of them, and 2's about all I would have needed to do it. What are you doing?
Flicking it over to there.
Are you on the right one?
Yeah, now it's
Sure,
on
it's a bit
this.
dark. Oh, that's you flipping it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, you can only afford what you can afford. So when you're starting out, and it'll teach you to be a really good photographer. If you can take great pictures with the worst gear in the world, imagine how good the pictures are going to get when you've got gear that you really love in your hands. At the end of the day, you're still just capturing something, and I'd say that I have got nothing against people like Nick Knight, who have done at least 3 or 4 magazine covers with an iPhone. I think that just shows he's an amazing photographer. It's no secret. It's not sort of like wankiness that he did it. He just wanted to show that he could use an iPhone and get an effect with an iPhone that we couldn't get with DSLRs, and it was an unreal shoot to watch the behind scenes.
I think you've shown me that one.
It's awesome.
Can you make a video on Inspire about emotions in photo?
We're hopefully doing that next Friday.
Yes. Yes, we are.
So, yeah, we're doing a shoot for Inspire next Friday, which is all about emotions in a model, working with a model and an actor, and about how to add emotions and how to add feels, take something from feminine to masculine, take something from serious to light without having them smile. So just working with emotions to then be able to sell a product.
For that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to work with her again.
Don't you use clipping light?
I don't know what's clipping light.
I don't know either. Sorry about
Sorry.
that. Is it not easier to clean the set instead of always painting it?
No, because you can't. If you wash matte paint, it goes shiny.
Oh, right.
And if you want to use, like some people put
change that
use an outside paving paint, or use a low sheen paint. Well, if you try and shoot the lighting so your white turns grey, you'll get shiny spots on the floor where you'll get flare off lights, and you'll find all the real pro studios, like the hire studios, at the end of every hire they repaint that floor, and that's because that's what we want. We want that matte white, and matte's going to get dirty really quick. And there's a studio in Melbourne that used to have a sort of a semi-gloss floor, and I was there on pack down, and I had to clean it up for a shoot the next day. And the time it took them to clean that site with mops and buckets with 3 people is about the time it takes me to paint a site. So yeah. I don't see it saving much time except for saving paint.
I was very impressed with how quickly you did it and painted it before.
I needed the exercise. I've been sitting in the office too much. I was getting excited.
Do you ever miss the film days?
Yes and no. Like the film, I still love film, but once you get into a digital workflow, it's very hard to step back into that film workflow. Shooting and look, I love the feel of film, but I feel that I can replicate I get my film fix now with my Hasselblad, shooting it at 800 ISO and defocusing a fraction. When I zoom in, I feel the same sort of feel that I get out of a film picture. I never did the dark room, so I don't miss the dark room. The chemist gave me a headache, so I always had somebody else do that work for me. But I've moved on. It's like everything. It's like I love old vinyl records, but I have like 1,000 of them. But Beck, have you ever seen me put a record on at the office?
No.
No, because it just takes by the time you de-dust the record and anti-stat them and put it on there and you get to play one song. Oh, you're going to go to the next song? You have to get up off your seat, lift the needle up, put it back down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no fast forward or rewind.
You've never
seen, have you actually ever played a record? Oh my, have you ever seen someone actually really play a record? Not a DJ.
One of my mates has a record player and she puts up things on her Instagram story of her.
But you've never been there physically?
No.
Right. So I've got next time we're in the office, I'm going to put records on for the day.
Okay.
Some Led Zeppelin.
Okay. Lightroom is a shell around ACR and you have all the ACR adjustments in a similar way as all other editors. The presets you mentioned are a feature, but you don't need to use them.
Yeah, but I don't want to load my pictures into a program. Yeah. I just want to go to my file, grab, this picture. It's not my workflow. You're not going to sell me Lightroom. I went there when it first came out, started to use it, and then found all these things I hated about it. I will use Photo Mechanic, find my favorite file, drag that file over the Photoshop icon, it opens in ACR, I'm in and off and running.
Yeah. It's just your workflow.
So that's my workflow, yeah.
Ralph just recently came across a YouTube video of yours, checked your website and instantly fell in love with your work.
Oh, thank you.
That's nice. Yes, everyone's talking about
that's not a question.
Now. I know, I just wanted to tell you that it was nice.
It's nice.
In ACR, how do you apply a constant look over multiple files?
Well, you can sync.
This is what I like about Lightroom.
You can sync. So if you bring in, you select, you can use Lightroom as your cataloging and all of that. All you do is just select your final, say if you're going to do a fashion editorial, it might be 8 images. You select those 8 images, you bring those 8 images in, you do your work on the first, what you call a hero shot. So work out what is your favorite image, do your adjustments on that, then sync it to all the other pictures, and just click through and make sure that those settings work on all the photos and adjust them, and then they'll have that same feel together.
It's just whatever works for you. Like
it still comes down to it's like
what you're saying right now isn't gospel. It's not
no,
like
it's what I do.
Yeah, it's just.
And I can't teach you how to use Lightroom if I don't use it.
Exactly.
And and it's the same with as I've tried and tried. Beck's seen how many times I've tried to do Capture One. Now, Capture One was my main workflow up until about 14 years ago. 12, 14 years ago, it was my main workflow, but it doesn't work with the way I work now. And I've tried and we have more tethering problems. Yes. And Beck also goes, we're tethered somewhere. And she goes, I don't like that. Doesn't look like your work.
No, it just looked weird.
Anyway.
And do we have any plans to come to New Zealand?
In fact, if we're going to go anywhere, there seems to be Australia and New Zealand are talking about opening up the board.
That's
exciting. In fact, I was actually going to say to Beck when I heard this, that might be somewhere we might do. We did have issues last time we wanted to go there because people didn't want to pay. They wanted me to come over for nothing. But I've got a couple of sponsors that might back us up for that. We could go over and do some seminar work.
That'd be cool.
Sponsors. Yeah.
Nice. You mentioned shoots for Inspire quite often. What is that? Inspire is the online photography tutorials website that Peter and I run. I've got a link for it down below.
Down below in description. They're going to look under their table and not see it.
That's what it means. Down below means in the description.
All right.
That's what all the vloggers say.
Is it?
Well, I'm not a
vlogger. Hi guys.
So yeah, that's where I upload everything from retouching tutorials to model interviews, lighting. So if you've seen a few of our YouTube lighting tutorials, sorry, I'm just changing exposure.
They're much more in-depth.
It's much more in-depth than that.
What was the last one we just put up was,
oh God.
Oh, it's a Paloma, the makeup shoot.
That's right.
So that was 9 videos, wasn't it?
I think so.
It was about 9 videos of about 20 minutes each. So right from the very makeup artist coming in, deciding our look, right through to setting up our lighting, then taking the lighting the next step, then me working with the model because I wasn't getting the feel I wanted. So there was, I think 20 or 30 minutes of me just working with the model to try and get the looks out of her that I wanted, then a couple of adjustments. With the YouTube stuff, we just try and do it. We normally grab at the end of a commercial shoot or at the end of an Inspire shoot, we will do a little half an hour sort of wrap up of what we had been doing during the day rather than a exact every single step of the lighting setup. Because some of the setups are tedious. Someone commented on one of my setups, I cannot believe it took you, no, you're about the only person I've ever seen to take 40 minutes to set up one light. And then he said it was the most enjoyable tutorial he'd ever watched. And it is that, it's a little bit, you see from start to finish of my lighting process about how I set up and how fussy I am about little things that you mightn't have even noticed, and even at the end didn't think it was that big a deal, but that's the difference between my way my pictures look and why my clients will come in. And even on the makeup shoot, the client, which was the makeup artist, very first frame, very first setup frame, she said, oh, I love it. I said, no, and we spent an hour until I got the lighting exactly where I wanted it.
I was about to say, spoiler alert, you're very fussy.
I am fussy, but that's part of my look. It's like Dead Mouse and listening to him build a bass sound. He'll spend 4 or 5 hours just on that exact sound he's trying to get in that bass to suit that song, and that's why his music is his music. It's the things that he wants to perfect.
Yes, I agree.
And
what about private virtual workshops? Set it up with a studio in the city and hook in from Melbourne.
Private virtual.
So
what, have cameras and that following?
Yeah.
Well, we try and do that. The live streams are pretty hard.
And it's really,
we need more at the moment with our Inspires. Normally Beck does all the camera work now. And I think the last live stream shoot, we had to get Kiki in to run cameras because Beck needs to control the live streaming, and then we need a camera operator. And to do a workshop properly, we'd most likely need 2 camera operators.
Yeah, I'd say so. Workshop.
We could do it, but
yeah, it's definitely possible. It would just be tricky, and it's not. I know. I feel like it's not the same. Like with the thing with workshops, like we have people that come to workshops that are members of Inspire, and they quite often will say, like, you know, I'm on Inspire, and I thought that I wasn't going to learn anything, but it is such a different experience actually being here in person rather than watching on a screen, which I completely agree with. I think.
And it's also even though you can ask us questions here, we've most likely missed some really important questions.
Yeah, which I'm sorry
Whereas in the studio, we've normally run our workshops are normally sort of like 12 people. So as I say something, someone can just spurt straight away then, oh, but what about that? And it's instant, whereas we might miss that comment. And then by the time we read it and then answer it, we might be a minute further down. Yeah.
Which I'm sorry about.
Yeah, no, but it's not that. It's even the time delay. If I say something, someone goes, oh, what do you mean? But while it kind of comes up into a comment and you call it out, I could be talking about something really important, and I can't just go back 2 steps to answer that question.
Yeah, I understand. Really? Yeah, I do. Apparently we won't struggle to sell out Chicago.
We've heard that before, haven't we? Come to Toronto, come to Toronto.
It's a huge photographers community in Dallas, Texas. The largest guild in the States is there. Well, we've got a pretty big following in Austin, which is why I decided on Austin.
No, we decided because we were going to go there when the Formula One was on.
Oh, I thought it was because I'd looked at the analytics and that was where most people were coming from.
Well, I said yes to Austin because the F1.
The truth has come out now.
Well, if there is that many people, we could do both cities. Yeah. So we could put a feeler out there, but that's only if the borders if we can travel. At the moment, we can't travel.
No, we cannot. Sven said that people should just come to Melbourne and enjoy us and the awesome models at any workshop. He really enjoyed the 3-day one November last year. Thank you very much. Wayne still has a 20-year-old Bowens.
Yeah, I sold all my old Bowens gear because I just wasn't using it, so I have too many lights here anyway. But yeah, but I used to do a lot of work for Bowens.
Someone said it's nearly their bedtime, but they're going to watch you paint because it's better than counting sheep. You guys are funny. Lucky people.
Well,
do you have a program where a small group can study with you in your studio for a few days? Yes, that is the workshops that we are talking about. So we do Melbourne ones, do a 5-day one the last week of February, which we did just before everything went crazy. And then we were planning on doing another one towards the end of the year, but unless we can have like the people meeting thing, I don't think we'd be allowed to, would we? Or can we hold a workshop? I think.
Not yet.
But that's what I mean. Like if they lift that restriction.
In Melbourne, we're only allowed gathering maximums 5 for a wedding.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. But once these restrictions got to go soon anyway. So once the restrictions are left, we can run our workshops in Melbourne. Our hardest thing is, even if you wanted to come in, if you're able to fly into Australia, you're going to get put into a hotel room at your expense. You're going to be locked in there. You cannot even leave the front door. You're going to be like in prison. You're not going to be able to get fresh air, and you're not going to get alcohol or any food that you have any say in for 14 days. So you're going to have to fly in for 14 days, go into prison. Oh, no, not with the new restrictions.
Jeez.
You basically get put in prison for 14 days before they let you out. So I can't see anybody doing that.
Yeah, it's fair
to hear me crap on.
Paul said he heard you say one time that you were in a band. He doesn't know if you were joking or not. No, he was in a band. What did you play? What kinds of music? Any YouTube videos? I wish.
There is a video out there somewhere. I can't find it, but there is one.
Oh.
Well, we're on TV, so I just can't find it. I was bass and keyboards. Yeah, I gave up commercially playing when I was about 23. We did the album, we did the whole that thing, and then flopped. It just didn't. We got changed by a record company. You know, they sign you up, and then they change your sound to what they think you should be, and then all our followers hated our new sound. So did we. So we gave it 6 months. We hated it. We split up, and we all just went our own ways. I still write music. All the music to any one of the videos that have got music in, I've written and performed. But that's something I still absolutely love doing. I just don't get enough times.
You've got the thing coming up that you're going to spend time writing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, got
it. Are the videos you have just stills together or video from the session?
Some of them are stills together, some are stop frame.
Yeah.
So I did one of Beck's stop frame, but a lot of them, when you see that flashing, that's me cutting them, chop cheesing them. That's me cutting them up in Final Cut. So
we still haven't made chop cheese on YouTube.
No, we haven't.
Well, I don't think people enjoyed us cooking.
No, they didn't like us cooking.
Sorry, I interrupted.
The stuff, anything that's called a video, I normally call them a stop frame if they're stop frames. So there's one of Anne with a baseball bat, which is stop frame. There's one of Beck you're in a harness suit, which is a stop frame. But most of the other stuff that actually videos from, I'll either take some footage from a shoot, or more what I do now is interrupt the shoot and just grab a video camera and keep that same mood going, then go back to shooting and then chop it up.
Yes. Do you ever shoot cars or motorbikes?
Used to shoot a lot of motorbikes. That's a psych and the big. I used to be able to just drop a great big softbox, Mega Light, over a motorbike, and yeah, used to. But it was always fun because I loved some of the workmanship that was in the bikes, and they were just works of art. But when you say to the motorbike, "Oh, you make it a bit prettier," can you? They didn't really do much. They just sat there and dripped oil on the floor. But yeah, but yeah, look, it's shooting still life and things like that. There's still a little bit of fun. I still enjoy getting that perfect light and that perfect angle and picking the right lens to make that bike look macho or make it look feminine. I know it sounds silly, but there's ways to put a feeling into an object with a lens. But I get so much more enjoyment out of just getting that emotion click into a model's face where I just said something, did something, they reacted, and I got that frame. That is like a million times more enjoyable for me.
Most of your images are in landscape orientation. Do you ever shoot in portrait?
My eyes are in landscape.
Yes.
If a client forces me to shoot in portrait, I will. But because I'm shooting on a 50 megapixel, I can easily crop my portrait. And I always say to them, if I shoot the fashion shots in landscape, you've now got a crop your single page or you have a double page, and they normally are happy with that answer.
Do you think we will end up doing workshops in Melbourne before you will be able to do them overseas, or is that too hard to predict? Yeah,
At the moment, I've restructured my business based on worst case scenario, and hopefully if things go the way I'm planning it to go, will mean that I won't have to do the shit commercial work I hate doing. They'll be the first clients I drop, which means I'll be doing more and more of what I love doing, which means I can be more flexible. And if it is a while till we open up, yes, we could run another workshop in Melbourne. The only problem is the people who want to come to the workshop aren't in Melbourne, and there'll be some people, even travelling interstate in Australia, you can't. So there's, it's obviously.
When you return to doing commercial shoots, what kind of protocol will you need with the MUA, hairstylist, etc.? Are you planning for that, like relating to COVID? I think they have like their own.
Well, there's no different hairdressers who are still working in Melbourne. And if you watch any TV show, have you noticed all the newsreaders and all the presenters still have their hair and makeup done? I guarantee you they're not doing their own. The whole thing, it's really hard. So for us in Melbourne right now, we have something like 80 active people with coronavirus that's known about out of 6.5 million. Right, it's sort of like, it's really weird how the reaction is to what to do. But at the moment here, I don't go in hugging. Well, I do, my hair and makeup artists are all good friends, so we just don't do that anymore. But with the working environment, the hair and makeup artist has still got to touch the model, so nothing there is going to be changing. I don't touch models, so there's nothing there that's going to change. So I can't see much in the way of our protocols changing. We've got a big hair and makeup area that if we had 2 people working, they could easily be 4 meters apart. So yeah, I can't see anything. The stylist will still have to touch the model. So nothing like that will change. Maybe the only thing is around my computer. I just say to people, while I'm there, you're not allowed to come here, and when you come here, if they spray their hands, although if they've got coronavirus, we're going to get it anyway. We can't ask the model to have a mask on while we're shooting. We won't really know that it's shooting while I've got a mask on. The models are not going to. Yeah, anyway. No, haven't really thought about it, but at the end of the day, I'll just go on. I'll just do 365 days of shooting back. How about that? Maybe a coffee table book that people can pour coffee. No, I'll make a wine table book.
Yes, I love that. Reconnecting to what you said earlier about asking clients for a feeling they want to see in an image, an idea would be one or several videos shooting feelings like happiness, anger, longing.
Yeah, that sort of work. It's a different. You've gone dark on us. Well done, Beck. It's a little bit different to what I'm doing with the client. So the client might have a range of, say, activewear. That's one of the clients I have. And I will say, what mood do you want people to feel when they're looking at our campaign? And if they say the word energetic, then I have got the feeling behind not just the look and feel of the model, but the look and feel of the photo, the angles I'm going to shoot them from, and that could make a good tutorial to do. But it's very hard that I can't just go to a model. We go from energetic to pretty. I want soft. Give me a word. I'm trying to think of a word. Melancholic. I can't just, because I would want to change my background, my lighting, the type of lens that I use to do that melancholic look. So it's a bit different with the clients. That's why I want them to let me know what is the feel they want out of their campaign. What is the one emotion they want people to feel when they look at the pictures. So I have a few days to then put my ideas together to then get that feel across, as well as picking the right model that's going to also give that feel to that. When it comes to, we do want to do a lot more tutorials and some stuff for YouTube on my posing and model techniques, but they're very, very hard to do, because a lot of times once I start putting cameras onto the model, it's so much harder to get them to relax and break. They've now conscious there's video cameras on them, so for me to get them to completely let go, it's harder. And the models who are really good, there's not much training with them because they're just good, they know what they're doing. It's the models that I need to train, the ones that once you start putting cameras on them, and the Paloma one's a perfect example. I think I worked twice as hard on that with her than I did when we weren't filming.
Yeah. Photos are wonderful and ready in a single click. Do you use a photo meter? What is the percentage of editing in your photos? We have retouching videos on YouTube, so if
you can see what it is, but yeah, I prefer, if I can, the minimal amount of retouching as possible. Like, the less retouching, the happier I am. I'd rather call myself a photographer than a retoucher. But I did 4 retouches yesterday between other stuff, and there was 2 pictures I had done within about 3 or 4 minutes, and they're my favourites. And yeah, and then there was the one I showed you, and you go, oh wow, look at the difference that is. But that was more, we were using natural light with white sheets and things like that, and I wanted to get more depth in it. There's no way known I could get the light just to light one part of a sheet and not the rest of it. So I had to do a fair bit of dodging and burning of the scene, exactly as what I would have done in a dark room, of carefully mapped out my dodging and burning to get the eye to flow where I wanted the eye to flow to.
Do you ever shoot personal non-model projects? If so, please give some details.
When I say non-model, as soon as someone's in front of my camera, they're a model. Yeah. I've got personal projects, and there's stuff that I've been working on for years, and on my web page, if you go to my stuff area, that's more my personal projects. They're a lot left of center, a little bit controversial. They make you think, they make you feel. I put props in there just to upset, to get to, yeah, they're what I call my mirrors. They're to create a reaction so I can learn more about the viewer. I know about me, but your comment on that picture will tell me about you.
I nearly replied to someone's comment on YouTube saying that before, or similar thing before they left it. Oh, I know. Anyway, hello from Las Vegas. Just got a HD 550C. Learning how to use this thing. I remember Peter saying that they're pretty hard to learn.
Hard? You just got to slow everything down. It's no different to if you've been driven, if you're driving around in a Honda or latest car at the moment. We've got all the luxuries, and then you jump into a supercar, like a high-end supercar. You're going to find that you can't drive it for shit because everything's clunky and heavy. Slightest touch on the accelerator, you spun your back wheel. So going to a medium format's that thing. You just got to slow down a little bit and enjoy the ride.
You tried any of the Fuji medium format cameras at all?
No, everyone keeps asking me, but it's not like I can just go try.
Yeah.
I have to travel an hour to the main city to a hire place to hire them, come back, then take them back. It's 4 hours travel all up. I'm going to lose just to play with one. I'm happy with what I've got. If someone said, hey, I'm going to drop this off in the studio, if you've got time, have a play and tell me what you think, I might only pick it up once or twice to give it a play, but when you're happy with if you're happy with the car you're driving, you're not looking at changing, Well, I've heard they're really good. I've heard really good reports, but I've never taken a photo with one. We've had a few come to some workshops, so I'm always too busy on a workshop to even.
Hello from Siberia.
That'd be a cool place to go.
Yeah, they said we invite you to. I'm not too sure how to pronounce this. We have a large studio. I would love to go to Siberia.
Siberia would be awesome.
Thank you for the work you do. Garrett said what he saw of the food live stream was fun. It was like 3 AM and he fell asleep while it was playing. So it wasn't the fault of the content.
We sent you to sleep. Well done. Yeah, well, it's just it is. We just looked at our numbers and just thought, well, people want to know about photography, even though we were talking photography, we were cooking. So we know that when we did the live shooting one a few back, everyone really liked that. We're going to try and do that again, but we're just waiting for our rules in Melbourne, Australia to relax so we can do that again.
Yes. Cooking tip of the day, don't add salt to steaks until you go to cook them.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Oh, because it'll dry the meat out a bit, I say.
So, rough question, when did you begin to give model feedback stunning, and do you see this ever as insincere? What is the goal here, and how to maintain sincerity?
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So we actually had someone comment, didn't we?
Yeah,
what were those words?
They said that
we shouldn't use the word cool and beautiful.
Juvenile, and so I asked the question back, what should we be saying instead? And he said, pause, and getting the model to hold it and just pause. So I find that funny, like.
Well, one of your usernames is Beck Pause.
So that's kind of funny.
The thing is his pause thing is the one, when we run workshops, we normally say to the models what the the worst things you can say to a model. And
they always say they don't like being told to
hold. Hold is like, and it's the worst thing. And when we're training models, we train the model that hold means, I haven't got my shit together. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm not very good at doing my job. So can you just not move, lose all of your natural, beautiful expression, have this stale look while I work out my camera or my focus?
The thing is, models, like, we normally have kind of set few poses that we go, but like we kind of cycle through. So chances of us doing that same thing again anyways is probably pretty good.
And on top of that, I used to use Gorgeous a lot. And I've cut that out a fair bit because I just wanted to use, I use Beautiful, I still use Gorgeous a little bit. But I find cool is this, it's just, and you know, Nick Knight says, yep. That's what Nick Knight says. And I know that sometimes you see me go, cool. This is just my way. It doesn't matter what word I'm using. It's telling the photographer what she's doing is really cool. Cool, keep going. What, you're going flat?
People are saying, check my mic. Check.
What are you doing with your mic?
I've still got batteries.
Are you still getting volumes?
Yeah.
Talk.
Talkie. Hello.
You're well below mine though. When you talk, it's below mine. Mine's up much
really
higher.
Quiet.
Yeah, we'll talk up. Oh, you've got your thing on the underside.
Oh, that's why it's slick.
Oh, you idiot.
It wasn't like that before.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't.
You and your mic cables. You're going to ask another question, so that's stuffing around people.
Sorry. Everyone Would you say there was a pivotal shoot in your past that you discovered it shaped your style of photography, or is this an ongoing process?
Yeah, no, not one. Although maybe there was one. There was one of a model that I was really, really scared to work with because I saw this amazing model and didn't think I was up to her quality of modeling. And I had a concept, and the picture was my meaning of life. And yeah, we nailed it. Absolutely loved it. And I just realized from that point forward not to be scared of anybody I'm working with and have my crazy ideas, because if the model doesn't get it, might find another model that does get it. So I can always use that idea on a different model. So that would be the big change, is that someone I really looked up highly to, I didn't realize she was actually looking up to me the same way I was looking up to her. So it was that thing that don't put yourself under pressure. I've shot celebrities and I've been nervous about them, and two of my favorite celebrities I've worked with, it's sort of like we were just on this beautiful level field, and it just makes my job so easy when we're all humans, so we're all equal.
Yeah. Hopefully my mic is better now. I repositioned it.
Still looking a bit low.
Still looking low, but I am here. Hello.
Which is your one? Can you remember?
I am 2.
You're 2. Try talking
so now.
now.
If I talk now.
That's looking higher now.
Okay. I'll talk up. Hope it's.
We've got to finish soon anyway, but.
Yeah, no, we do have to finish and get back to work. Everyone's saying thank you heaps. Communication with the models is adorable.
Most important thing, it's more important than lighting, it's more important than what camera you own. It's the most important thing, making your subject feel the way you want them to look. So I really, really push that. If you want to get great images, it's your subject that will give you the good images. It's not what brand of camera you have or what brand or what studio you're working in.
Apparently it's still too low, but I don't understand why. I've got full battery and it was working fine just before.
No, I can push it to max, but talk now.
Talking.
It's not changing much.
I don't understand because it was working fine before and then it just all of a sudden, but none of the batteries have died. Odd.
All right, you just go.
Yeah, I've checked all the batteries.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyways, Ben said he tried the dog question that he learnt from the workshop, and it worked really well with the model, so that's good.
Oh, the dog question, it's great. So you've left everyone going, oh, what's the dog question? Just really quickly, I have a thing, is if I can find out if the model has some pets, if they have a dog, you normally find that just asking the model the dog's name, what breed, the sex of the dog, get them just to talk about their dog a little bit. You just watch their cheeks lift and their eyes glow. You just talk, we're nearly finished.
Well, we've kind of run out of questions because everyone is just telling me that my mic's off, so maybe that's a good time for us to wrap it up.
Wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to wrap it up then?
Well, no, because I don't have a microphone.
Yeah, I can. It's picking you up here.
I don't know
No, you
how
don't
well
have
it's
to-
picking me up, though.
It's picking up fine.
Okay. Are you sure that's not you talking again? Like we had that from. Anyways, we need to get back to work, guys. We've been going for ages now. This will be available afterwards. As always, if you guys have any questions, we are only an email away. We will be trying to. What have we got coming up that we'll be?
We're doing that awesome shoot next Friday.
Yes, we are. We're doing that awesome shoot.
We might not go. We won't go live, but we'll definitely record it.
Yeah.
And we've got to build a new L-shaped wall, and we're going to paint a grunge wall on it at the same time.
So we've got heaps of stuff coming.
And Beck's going to work out her mic stuff ups.
Yeah, I don't understand how it can work and then stop.
It's a you thing. Maybe it needed some wine. No, it's too early.
Anyways, we should get back to work.
Cool.
Oh, doers. Yeah, I do have Instagram. It is not on this, but it's listed on other videos if you want to go hunting for it. But it is Beckpaws, P-A-W-S.
Pause. Hold. What are you doing?
just reading to see if there's anything else, but no, I think that is all. And
you can always leave comments after this has been uploaded. It'll stay here forever. And Beck or I do read the comments, so we'll answer anything else that's asked.
Sounds good. All right, well, thank you for tuning in, and you guys are awesome, and we